All right, Little Rock, get ready, get jacked up. It's time for another episode of the Block Talk. I'm Jamie Taylor, and I'm fortunate this week to be with Kacie Taylor, who has an interesting, amazing new product to introduce to our market. So welcome, Kacie. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, sister-in-law.
I know, right? Drop the family bomb. So obviously, beautiful, intelligent, she's family. Also modest. But what we are going to talk about today is what you're up to. And you've done a lot of different things in your career, but this new path involves something that kind of bridges the gap between technology and people. So before we do talk about user testing, tell me a little bit about kind of where you come from. I happen to know the inside story, but the short version anyway.
The short version.
Yeah, where did you go to college and what are you do? How did you get here?
Yeah. Well, I'm from Arkansas, so I'm homebred here from Russellville, Arkansas. And then I did move out. So I went to Oregon State and Notre Dame. And then I've been gone for a long time. So I was in I did the California thing, so the LA, San Francisco life.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at now, San Francisco, but happily moving out. Sorry, San Francisco.
Don't worry, our listener base is mostly proud to be from Arkansas.
I know, but everyone needs to know that I'm not like a San Franciscoian moving away. Like I am Southern. So I deserve to come back. So I'm not like one that's like taken over or anything like that.
Right. She's an original where I'm a transplant.
I'm an OG. Yeah.
Right. But that's the thing. I mean, going to college, you probably had an interest in a lot of different things. What made you decide that technology and bridging this gap between what is missing for companies with people, what made you decide to go this route?
Well, I went to school for pre-med and then did an internship and realized I don't like feet. So
A family thing. My husband hates feet as well.
I don't know what it is. So anyway, I decided to go. I followed, even like after trying to deny it forever, I followed my dad's footsteps into technology. I always knew I wanted to be in it. And then as I was in it more and more, I realized this big gap where we weren't humanized anymore. We were losing that ability to connect with our consumer. And when I stumbled upon this amazing company I'm at now, we're closing that gap. So it's really fun. Like, I hate saying that's like, I work for this company, but yeah, I love it at the same time. So it's not trying to be too salesy, but it's amazing that we're able to bring a consumer feedback quickly so companies can now make that decision with their consumers' feedback.
Right. But with entrepreneurs, that's the whole goal at the end of the day, right? Is I want to find something that I love doing. Like I would rather work 80 hours a week for myself than 40 hours a week for someone else, right? Mm-hmm. So that's you and your company are trying to find a way for people to really get a grasp on how their consumers feel. But it's also something for you. I mean, I've watched you put in 12, 16, 18 hours a day, making sure that you are after this and pursuing your passion and getting the things done that need to be done to grow the company. Mm-hmm. So you fall in love with the company, decide I want to get into this. Tell me kind of the nitty gritty of how user testing works.
Yeah. So usertesting.com is a really interesting company because not only do we have just everyday people sign up and they're a panelist. So anyone that's listening today, go to usertesting.com and you can sign up and be a panelist. And what a panelist does is you actually receive tests from companies that are asking you, what do you like?
So you actually get to share your opinion in a totally non-polarizing way, but even if you want to polarize, that's fine. They're going to record it, right?
Yeah, everything is recorded, exactly. So when, let's say I'm Nordstrom's and I'm sending you a study asking you how a checkout process goes, we're watching that entire process on camera. So it video records your entire screen. So if you can't find a checkout button, imagine like how difficult that is and frustrating it is. So we're trying to get rid of that frustration and make it a better experience.
So if I'm a consumer though and I'm on Dillard's and I'm trying to shop and I figure out that it's much easier to just go over to Amazon and buy this product because I'm so frustrated with the experience on Dillard's, that's something I would easily learn from a test like through a panel, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a website that can test out anything. So we do it on mobile and on desktop and a hardware interaction. So you as a business will create a study. You'll send it out to our panel, 1.6 million people, right? It goes out to this panel. You say how many people you really need. Like with qualitative data, it's a little bit different. So I'll go into that in a second. But you send it out and you're going to get this amazing rich data back. You're watching your consumer go through your website. You're watching your consumer interact with your app. And you're able to actually see more than just them saying, okay, next, next, next. You're hearing them talk about what another company has done or something that they wish would be there. And so you're getting a lot of data that you're not even expecting to get. So it's pretty pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that, when you mentioned the difference between qualitative data and what is normally considered the quantitative data that companies go after, I specifically don't like quantitative data because for me it's like with Zillow, like they just pile up all these public records and all of these things that have happened, and there's no individual respect for that property specifically, right? So you have no idea as a consumer if that's accurate information or not because it's just a pile of numbers and statistics. Whereas with the qualitative, you're actually hearing somebody say, okay, I'm really frustrated because I can't find the button I need to find to check out here. I'm just going to go over to Amazon, right?
Totally.
That's a major difference.
So we do partner. We work hand in hand with quantitative data.
Sorry, quantitative guys.
No, quantitative data is important.
Yeah.
Quantitative data, you send it to hundreds of people and you're going to get this feedback back. Like, yes, I love this website. That's great. Okay, why do you love that website? That's where qualitative data comes into play.
Yeah.
So quantitative data, you have a survey that goes out. Do you enjoy your experience? Yes or no? Yes. Right. Qualitative data goes out and says, okay, well, why do you enjoy that experience, or why don't you enjoy that experience? So, Jamie knows this about my dad. My dad is full of one-liners. His one of another
email one-liners every day.
Yeah. He'll say, you remember what I always say? And I'm like, Dad, which one? Like, let's go through the list. Which one? So he is thoroughly into my career, which I love. And he tells me all the time, he's like, surveys are great. They don't lie, but people do. And that's very true. Like, surveys are very nerve-wracking. You're like, yes or no, what do I pick? So now what you have is that video footage to confirm what that is. So you send out a survey, everyone says yes, now confirm what that yes is with the why behind that yes.
Yeah, and that blows my mind just because I spend all day interviewing entrepreneurs and talking to them about their career and what's their why and what are they doing, and then they're turning around spending all of the money that they've earned building their marketing campaign, right? And they want to build these funnels that attract clients. They want websites that are attractive and user-friendly, and they have no idea what people think about that. And so from the smallest entrepreneur to the largest company, you're sort of providing that insight before they waste all their money, right? Building a huge expensive website.
100%. What this does is it starts with even just an idea. I always joke around because one of these days I'm going to do it and I haven't done it yet, but it's really easy to use our platform. And since it comes back within 2 hours, I'm going to take a picture of my outfit and send it out to the panel. Does this look like a winner?
Yeah. We are not doing that with my outfits.
Whatever, you look fabulous. Right. But if you do it on you can go on there right now as a single person and I don't mean that as like a single, but like individual, as a human being, you can go on to usertesting.com and just do one for fun. But you could test out your Facebook page or your Tinder account and see what people really think about it. I did one the other day on Snapchat, just I wanted to see what people's filters, how they associated with their filters, and watching people go through filters, and you're watching someone in their home just interact with it. So it's pretty funny.
That is hilarious.
I know, we might have to show a clip.
Yeah, and what's really funny too is I was watching, so the other part about Kacie and specifically being on the show here in Little Rock is that this is now part of your territory, the state of Arkansas. So all of the people that have been on the show typically either run a company or own a company that I wanted to expose you and this product to, because there's hundreds of companies here in Arkansas that also need that. I mean, you've met a few since you've been here that really need that help deciding what is our demographic, number one. Number two, if we're going after that specific demographic, how do we cater to them? How do we make them happy? And then when they can watch on video what that demographic thinks and feels about their company, they can certainly make better decisions. So you can target specifically 18 to 25 and right? I mean, tell me a little bit about the targeting.
Yeah, so because of our large organic growth, panelists, it's been a long week, panelists, you can target individual. You could target down to a block. Let's say you wanted to see someone that was walking down, I think this is Main Street, whatever the street is right here. You could ask people, are they able to see signs? So you can really dive down into age group, what they work into, how many children they have, are they familiar with websites? And then what you can go is even deeper than that. Have you worn black in the last week? I mean, you can really dive down into this specific person that you're trying to get inside their head. So this is not just for B2C customers. This is also for B2B. Everyone has an end user. Everyone has a digital presence. If you don't have a digital presence, you need one.
Yeah,
so
right.
You should probably work on that first.
Well, and that's what last week when we were talking to Wayne, he said the same thing. He said if you don't have a buyer, you're not selling anything, right?
Truth.
And so if you don't have an end user, if you don't have somebody that you're marketing to, you're not.
I knew I liked that guy.
Yeah, you just are not going to make it. You're not going to make it as a
Yeah.
business. So it's an incredible tool. It's very powerful. And I know you said you have an organic growth growth of panelists that are kind of day by day joining. How do people, do they go to user testing and they apply to be a panelist? Or how do you know that you're not getting just like this guy who's a naysayer that's like, everything sucks? I mean, how do you
Aren't they called trolls?
I think so. Internet trolls.
The internet.
The guys that get on Twitter and just down everything.
The world sucks.
Yeah.
Well, no. So go to usertesting.com. I want to be like, it's right here on the camera.
Yeah. We're going to, Erin, edit that in, please.
Edit this in right here. Usertesting.com, and there's become a panelist. What you do is you apply. We have a whole panel team at User Testing, and it is usertesting.com, but I'm going to say usertesting.com, and you'll actually be interviewed. So you go on, we show you how to upload the program. It's really easy to do. We make sure that we can understand you when you speak, which is really important, right? Because the end user has to be able to transcribe what you just said. And then we also ask you those demographic questions that we need to know. So there's a certain amount of information we'll need to know, and then there's a certain amount of information that you'll be able to answer when those tests come to you. So, here's the kicker. I forgot to say. If you become a panelist, you do make money.
Boom.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Right?
I'm about to be a panelist, just FYI.
I forgot the best part of the whole thing, like making money. It's not for free.
Yeah.
But it is $10. But hey, that's the least. In Arkansas, that's two beers. Yeah.
Oh, I like how we went totally opposite. I'm pregnant right now. That's probably the reason. But anyway.
Yeah, that's 2 beers in Arkansas, 1 in San Francisco. But you know.
Do you see this? Your cost of living is going to get lower additionally. Plus, the people are better.
They are.
It's really Southern
San
hospitality.
Francisco.
Southern hospitality is a real thing. I mean, people, unless you come here, you don't really understand. But what's great about it, where your whole territory is full of Southern hospitality.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah,
I do. I love it very much. I'm very excited to be back in this hood and excited to work with everyone. And I think it's really interesting because I love the grind that goes on here. There is a different grind here that I really appreciate. Like, people do get that it needs to be consumer centric. Like, that's very important. How do we do that? How do we obtain it? So I'm really excited to introduce this tool because it's answering that question that everyone has. You have to do this. And I love that things are evolving that way. So I feel like back in the day, remember we used to walk into it wasn't Walgreens. Some, like, you know, I can only think of Walgreens.
Walgreens did used to have like the ice cream shop.
Yeah,
people
exactly.
would go in there and get their
So I'm gonna
weird.
stick with
Do you remember
Walgreens.
the weird shape of the ice cream at Walgreens? It was like the way they got the ice cream was not a scoop. It was like.
Do you
this
remember
thing.
how I was raised? I wasn't allowed to have that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, sorry, mother-in-law. My mother used to get me the Walgreens ice cream. It was shaped
She must
weird,
have loved you
but
more
the
than mine
thing
did.
is, it's the dollar store feel, though. You know what I mean? It's the corner shop. It's the,
It was. You have that interaction with your consumer, and then internet comes along, and we start kind of evolving away from it, right? Because things became so easy. We wanted cheaper and easy. And then what I'm seeing now, and this is what I love my job so much, is I see this with all the companies I work with, is we're moving towards a world where we're actually willing to pay more for better service and a quality product. Mm-hmm. That's huge. And if you're not taking advantage of this right now, you should, because people want better service, they want better products, they want nicer packaging, they want ease of use, but they still want to feel human, right? So that is a beautiful thing that's evolving that everyone should be honing in on. Right. How do you become more human again?
Well, and what's funny is you actually, in the family email thread that we have, which is invigorating, there was a response you had the other day when you said, I think that, and I picked this up and I've actually shared on the podcast in episodes prior, that like just today, that was, you said technology is leaning itself back towards humanity.
Yeah.
And at first, like you were same thing, like you would email people, right? And so then you wouldn't see each other and you wouldn't get on the phone and hear their voice or the inflection of what they had to say. And now you have this opportunity to, like, on Marco Polo, that app, you can just talk back and forth to somebody live on camera. And it's totally different because now all of a sudden technology lends itself to that human connection you're talking about, which has been missing for a long time. So user testing is sort of bridging that gap between technology and humanity, I feel like. So.
It is. It's challenging you to do that because you're going to hear it from your consumer if you're not. I mean, these are like,
or you're going to lose all your consumers.
Or that too. And that's what we're noticing. I mean, you think about companies that have made it through all these different, flows of technology, and it's because they've always kept that human touch, right? And that's something that's, I mean, I fall back on Nordstrom's a little bit because you do notice that so my grandpa, for example, he, as he aged, he always went to Nordstrom's because they made him feel like a rock star no matter what, right? And even today, like as you shop, they're still continuing evolving that way. And they've done a good job at doing it. So it's a great way to to notice that trend does work, you know?
Right. So Dillard's, listen up. You're an Arkansas-based company. You better level
Call
up
me.
there with Nordstrom's. Call Kacie. So that's the funny thing about this too, is back to making money at this, you can actually get paid as a panelist.
Yes.
So let's go back to that and how you can
We did get distracted.
Yeah.
Go figure.
So many things to talk
Is everyone
about.
following?
Yeah. As fast as we talk, they're going to have to do the reverse thing. You know how
Can't
you
you
push
slow
it
down?
1.6 forward? I don't think you can. I will have to ask our director.
We'll go down to like 1.4 speed.
Or maybe -8 or something. But anyways, you can get paid to be a panelist. And
Yes.
then you just basically answer questions about what you like and don't like. And I've heard on videos, I've watched you present, I've like looked at the videos and people are like, oh, this is the worst. I can't find this button. Or they say, I really like this. The pictures move themselves. I mean, that's valuable information when you're spending money on a website, right?
Well, yeah. So a panelist does get paid. It's $10 per survey. And then if you do if there is face-to-face, so you can do moderated, which is almost like a Zoom conference.
I get to ask you questions live.
Yep, live. So that's
the more confrontational version.
That's my favorite because, for example, I've done one recently where I had someone on there that worked at both companies that I was comparing them to, and I was able to ask them questions. And it was just, it was like an hour and a half of just communication and amazing information that I was just letting him talk. As someone that's moderating it, most of the time, a consumer, they want to give you feedback. They really do. These are the panelists on our panel. It's not like they're grinding out a bunch of studies and making all this money doing it. They thoroughly enjoy helping out companies, and they also know that they're rated. So people do worry about that. What about tester
Uber
fatigue?
drivers?
It kind of is, yeah. Because if you're rated low, you're not going to be asked back. You're not gonna get a lot of testing versus. You're rated high, you're going to get more tests, you're going to make more money, you're going to be involved in companies evolving. That's kind of cool. Amazon, Microsoft, all these really cool companies out there that are doing great things. You're going to be a part of that. That's a pretty cool thing
That's
to
pretty
do.
amazing.
Yeah, so usertesting.com, become a panelist, sign up. It's a lot of fun. I think even companies should do it. I think your mom signed up for it. I think it's spread that way. It's not like we send out a bunch of marketing stuff on it. But it's
I'm going to sign up. I hadn't even thought about it. But
yeah.
The first thing I thought about when you said, hey, Arkansas is going to be in my territory was I started looking around my network and trying to figure out hey, I know of this company and I need some help. And it's maybe you can meet them and bring that to them. And that's one of the reasons too. The podcast was created originally to add value to the community. We essentially, that's all we care about. We want Little Rock to grow. We want Arkansas to be recognized. Most people look at us and they think, okay, that's the #1 agriculture state in the nation. They sell rice. But we're also the most innovative financial technology in the globe, and people come here to do financial accelerators at the Venture Center and at the Tech Park, and it's incredible that people don't know that. Mm-hmm. So I wonder how some of those financial technology companies as well, some of those people like Axiom, how they could benefit from something like this is just mind-blowing, and there's nothing else like it in our market. You don't have any competition right now.
We do.
Well, we don't.
So as a salesperson, since I've been one my whole life, and you too, so funny that my brother married a fellow salesperson, but it makes sense considering our whole family is like that. But we do have competition. I like competition. If I was in a space that didn't have competition, I'd be like, what are we doing here? Because that's not good. So we do have competition. We are market leaders. We've been around so let me tell that story. That's actually pretty good. So our founder is one of the nicest founders, are some of the nicest people you ever meet. And when you get hired at user testing, one of your requirements is to be nice. That really is. And when they were interviewing me and telling me all this stuff, I was like, oh, come on. It's a tech company.
Says,
yeah, that's
right.
Right. Everyone's like, okay, everyone's nice. Legit, everyone is nice at this company. We just had a summit recently in New York and in San Francisco, and I had people come up to me. They're like, you guys really are a group of real people. It's because that's the culture at user testing. So this company, User Testing, 11 years ago, was created because he wanted people to be nicer to consumers. That was it. So it wasn't like he meant to go out and take over this world and create. It just naturally evolved that way because it's so needed. So yes, we do have competition now. And that's good. We have been around a lot longer, so we are market leaders, but there are
point of differentiation.
Yeah.
Right.
And our panel is really that. So you create a study, you send it out, the panel takes it, it's back in 2 hours. That's the big kicker there.
How
is
many
that
weeks
time.
does somebody normally wait for that?
Yeah, it's months. And the amount of money, think about a focus group. and it's not in their home. You're missing like some of this real factors that happen. So this is now like touching base with the consumer in their comfort zone.
Plus, I feel like the panelists for them, especially with like some of the demographics in the younger generations, we were talking about being elder millennials, which I've thrown that term around on the show a million times. But
you can be an elder millennial. I'll be a young one.
Whatever. Behaviors does not lend itself to years born. But anyways, so the thing is about millennials, or at least even like I think it's Generation Z behind that, like the fact is that they statistically don't want to be as face-to-face, right? They want to do it on video. They want to submit that information in a way that doesn't feel threatening and confrontational to them. So the opportunity to look and share their opinion and then not have to be like chased down about it later, like that's a really great opportunity for them to share their thoughts, share their feelings, share their opinion, and then get paid for it.
Yeah.
How many
Go
places
figure.
can you
They're
do
very
that anymore?
opinionated people.
Right. But what's funny is like they want to get on Facebook and be all opinionated, but that's
Yeah.
not helping anybody. But at least here you're solving a
Exactly.
problem.
No, you're hitting a great point. So the thing about qualitative data that's interesting is it's one thing for someone to say they love it. It's another thing for someone to actually buy it or do it, right?
Right.
Surveys, they love it. When are they going to do it? How are they going to do it in their day? What's going to actually make them do it? So an opinionated teenager, granted, we value your opinions. Thank you very much. But if you're telling me, oh, I don't like that, but you can find it, that's like a different story there.
Right.
But if I'm actually seeing that you're struggling, that's the information that I'm pulling back and being like, okay, this is my demographic that I'm trying to go after. And they really are struggling. They can't, I'm watching them not being able to check out.
Right.
And these are like tech savvy people because they were born in it, right?
They're born with these like devices. It's the
Yeah.
craziest thing to me that I was 17 the first time I got a cell phone and I had to like text by pushing A, B, C, D, E, F, right? And these kids are, like you said, they're born, like you have a nephew that has, he can operate a phone, I'm sure, because he
Video
can watch
pig.
videos. Yeah.
That's how you find Siri, video pig.
But that's the thing is, like you said, they've had it since birth.
Yeah.
So they obviously know what they're talking about and they should be able to find
Well,
information.
they know what they're doing. I wouldn't say,
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
kind
well,
of.
they know what they're doing, and the fact is, like, they can navigate it.
Yeah.
And there are people too, in like, there's companies here even that you've organized without saying names. Like, you've met with some of these people that are really struggling to find that employee that fits their niche, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need an employee that's younger. They need the people that are entering the job market to be interested in their company, but they can't figure out why they can't retain those employees. And so if they find that end user has the ability to say, well, when I go look at your
Yeah.
website, I have no idea who you are as a person. I don't know what your story is behind your company. It's all black and white. These are very empathetic feeling individuals, and they don't want to work for a company like that, right? I mean, so this helps not just with consumers, but employee retention.
It's a competitive world out there right now. We're living in a really crazy, amazing time period. Like, I'm running into companies every day. If there's people listening that are looking for a new career move, become a UX researcher, because there is such a movement in this direction that we need them. Like, people are hungry for them. So become a UX researcher. I can get you a job.
Yeah. Well, there's a girl here in town. I'll give her a shout out. Her name's Billie Jean, and she's not my lover, but she is, all about service. That's all she cares about. And she literally will go and she'll shout out to businesses around town and be like, you are the best at this. And people love it because the truth is, like, that is what we're after. I want to be treated well. Like Dillard's, or Nordstrom, like, I want to feel like a rock star. I want you to cater to me and my needs. And I think everybody wants that. I think everybody wants to feel like they're cared for by the company that they're buying from or investing their money in, because why else would they do that, right? So
Yeah.
I'm very excited about the new product, and I want to give Arkansas companies, and I know there are other areas you work in, right?
Yeah, anyone or anywhere I can help you with. I handle the TOLA marketplace, which is Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas is my territory. But anywhere, everywhere I can connect you. Again, all of the people that work user testing are really cool, really nice. Our new C-suite team is incredible. Like, I've never worked for a company that's this truly, I'm not just saying, I hope people can tell I'm sincere. Like,
Yeah.
I'm truly working for an amazing group of people. Like, these are friends at this point. So they really do. We work really hard at helping companies get going.
Well,
so,
I think it's been over 12 years that you guys have been in business, right?
yeah,
When I was
we're
doing-
at the 11-ish mark, I think.
Yeah, but that's a big deal because this technology, it continues to evolve, but
Oh,
that
yeah.
has not been around forever. And so it's been, like you said, industry leaders, but that's probably why they've managed to build such a big panel and such a great team over time, is because they are kind. And I know from experience, my company, outside of the podcast, is built out of people who are just super kind, and they want to do things differently, and they want to separate themselves in the market by being kind and helpful no matter the circumstance. And so I understand what you mean is that all of a sudden you're like working around people that you really love. And that's ideally, that's what you're going to do when you are finding a job, right? So that's what I love about user testing is it's not just consumers. It is people who want to find jobs and companies that they do want to work for. And I feel like that you have the opportunity as a company to go out and search your demographic. Like, this is what I'm looking for. And you can get all of those answers in 2 hours.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Like, just start with an idea. Like, if you have an idea and write it on a notepad and send it out to people. Then it goes to wireframing and prototyping, send it out to people. Then it goes to your logo before you launch it. Test it out. Do people even understand what it is? Like, do they get it? This stuff is important. It saves you so much money. I mean, I've done my own company before, and the amount of times that I redid my logo or I was on a website the other day and so the woman went to go check out and it went to an error. How long was that page up with the checkout to an error page? How much money did they lose right then?
Yeah, that's a huge revenue
loss. Huge revenue loss. And then I had another customer recently. It's a furniture store. They're not local here, but they're in California. And I went to visit them and we were chit-chatting and they're like, well, we're going to take you to lunch. I'm like, no. I'm a salesperson. Like, people don't take me to lunch unless your company makes it that way. But I pay. Like, this is how it is. It makes me comfortable to pay. And they're like, no, we're paying for it. And I was like, we have to tell you why. I'm like, why? They're like, we'll tell you, but don't increase our price of our license. And I was like, okay. They had just signed up for user testing. They had put out a test about packages for furniture. Overnight, they found out there was a problem with the checkout and understanding the packages. They changed it. They made millions.
That's
like,
ridiculous.
They increased sales by millions of dollars. Like, the guy even showed it. He was like, look at this. Like, and then we actually did an award system recently, and they won like second prize or something because their story was so valuable of like watching a true ROI of seeing where people were having an issue and correcting it and being able to make money from that correction.
Yeah, so I get the goosebumps whenever something really exciting comes up on the show. And it's like very exciting for me to hear that because how many startup companies I see, especially in Little Rock, but in the Tola market and surrounding, entrepreneurship is the way to go, So people want to do a startup, they want to build a company, and they can solve these problems from the very start, and they can just get involved from the very start. So I'm really excited about what you're doing. And it's exciting for me too because you're in my market now and I get the opportunity to introduce this thing and like look like I'm cool, because you brought it here. So I appreciate that. But
I don't need to make you look cool. You're already cool. Everyone like loves you.
Yeah.
So as they should. Well, that's just because Joe Rogan and all them don't know that you're coming to take them out of business.
I actually sent him a message and said I'm coming for you.
Did
so
you?
He should know. I sent him that on Instagram, so he hasn't got. He has no idea. I'm like, I'm the clean version. We beep it out.
So you're the nice version. He can be the.
I'm the user testing version.
Yeah,
of video
there you
podcast.
go.
Yeah. So, but the thing is that really, and it means a lot to me too because in our family, even, on a personal note, we are both very driven individuals, and a lot of our family members will say things like, "Oh, both of them are still working. They're both on the phone. They're both."
It makes holidays really interesting because
Kacie,
it's
can
literally
I use this room? I have a call. No, Jamie, get in your bedroom. I have a call. So it's
Jamie, shh. I have a call.
Yes. So, and I think that's important though because we talk about entrepreneurship so much on the show, and so I want you to share some of that because it's really important to hear as an entrepreneur, like what is the thing that keeps you motivated? What's the thing that keeps you driven all the time to continue going, even when it feels like you are working uphill?
It's funny because like everyone tells us, I mean, you're the same way I am. Like everyone tells us we work too much, and I feel like I don't work enough. So, but it's a funny thing to say because I'm not sure where else I would keep working, but I'm sure I could find some time. I love it. I love it. I love business. I love seeing people be successful. I mean, as much as your success, yes, of course, money is a big driver, right? Because I do enjoy that part. I'm in sales, but at the same time, I wouldn't work for a product that wasn't valuable for my end user. Like if I had to sell something that sucked, I wouldn't be very good at it. I enjoy this role that I have now and watching people be successful and being able to do things in a different way. Like this, we need that. We need people to constantly challenge status quo and how things are going just so we're constantly like evolving and moving in a better direction and a better world. Like I believe people are good. I believe people can accomplish, and anything I can do to help them and be a reference on, like, I'll do it. Like I love it. So,
right.
And I know you're the same way.
Well, the difference though too is like I was into it for a while, but now it's like stuff slowed down a little bit as I get pregnant and older. But the thing is, like, you also have
My
a lot
niece.
of healthy, right? There's a lot of healthy habits too that you employ, right? I mean, if you're going to give advice to another person who's going to get in sales and work 16 hours a day, you know, what's important? Do they need to just fill themselves with coffee and not sleep? Right.
No,
so
I sleep.
Exactly.
I do sleep.
So shed some light on that, because you have some amazing habits that I feel like entrepreneurs should listen to, because you have always had a positive mindset. And even in like the times I've watched you struggle through either a career change or some of those things, you've never had a bad attitude about it. And I think that
you don't see me behind closed doors.
Yeah,
I was kidding.
Actually, I do. But the funny thing about it is automatic negative thoughts are something that entrepreneurs struggle with. And 80% of our thoughts naturally as humans neurologically are going to be negative.
Yeah.
So I do want you to share that, because you always have a smile. You're always happy, even if times are tough.
Yeah. I know it's going to sound corny, but life really is short. And I think where I always push through is I do know I'll make it. Like, no matter what happens, like, I'm going to power through and I'm going to make it, and I'm going to end up on top. So, I mean, things, just like anything, I've been an entrepreneur. I've had a company. Things aren't always great, you know, but at the end of the day, like, I have learned every step of the way, and I'm so proud of who I am today and the person I've accomplished, right? So I guess the positive attitude just goes like from like, life is short, and if I'm sad every day doing something, then I'm going to stop doing it. There was, I think it's called Sweet Home Alabama, Reese Witherspoon, right? I'm totally going to reference something totally corny, and I know it's fine if I'm corny. I mean, you are too sometimes.
It's a family
so it's
thing.
like it's what we do.
Why do you think Joey married me?
Yeah. She's like, oh, fellow corny. She says something in there about how you don't drink to be happy, you drink to be happier. Well, I don't drink, so that's not the best reference, but I feel like that, and I do that in life. Like, I don't bring something into my life unless it makes me happier. Like, my base is happy. And it wasn't always like that, but at this point, like, in my life, like, I know that my base can be happy, and it is up to me to make that way. And then everything else, like, if something comes into my life and makes me happier, then I'm going to do that. But I think staying driven and working this hard and doing it is like, I thoroughly enjoy it. Like, it's hard to say that, and I know it doesn't come along for everyone, and I'm really lucky, or I worked hard to get to this. I you know, honestly, it comes down, I did work hard to get here.
I was about to say, it's like 16 hours a day. Like,
yeah, I worked really hard, and there was a lot of sacrifices, but it's worth every moment. So if it's something that you want to do, you know, put your head down and do it, and you know, don't worry about that next person or that next boyfriend, which is hard to do at times. And I've gotten sucked back into it. And I'm really lucky today to have someone that supports the way I am. You know, I'm on the road. I love it. I love meeting with people. I love seeing, you know, the success. I love knowing how businesses are doing. I love numbers. And that's just like thoroughly just pushed me to the next day. And then sleeping is really important. I mean, you can't do everything 100% as much as we'd like. So you do kind of have to choose one thing over the other. And I also had amazing entrepreneur friends and references. So I have this one boss of mine that always, and I call him my OG boss, because he really was like my first one that like taught me a lot. And I was a stress case back then. Like, if something went wrong, I was just a maniac. This was not when, I was like, oh my God. And,
back when you were like me.
You're not like that. No, I was like really bad. Like, I would like freak out. And he came up to me one day, and I was in printing at the time. So I was in labels, actually medical labels at the time. And he comes up to me and he's like, Kacie, it's a sticker. What? It's a sticker? No, Kacie, it's a sticker. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, and that like really changed the way I handled myself with business. It's like, I only do what I can, and I can do so much. And at the end of the day, it's not life or death. It's not, you know, going to make or break me. You know, I just got to take it one thing at a time. But yeah, I call him all the time. I'm like, hey, OG. And like, I always like reference back to him, because he did change the way I handled business.
Yeah. Well, I admire you a lot. And it's one of those things that, you know, at first I was kind of like, oh, we're a little bit alike. And actually, I thought we were nothing alike at first. And then as I watched you kind of grind and follow and work hard, I found some admiration and some respect for what you were doing, because it just feels like no matter what gets in your way, you won't stop. And I think that at the end of the day, your mindset is, like you said, I'm going to make it. And of course, your parents are very supportive, and they push you to be excellent. And I watch that with all of you. One of the reasons I love your brother so much is that he will strive for perfection in every area of his life. And when he can't get it, he just continues to go. And so it's been a really big honor to be part of the family and learn, you know, from you guys. You know,
we are honored to have you in our family. She's a pretty good Yeah, you guys can't have her. She's already taken.
Yes, but what's interesting about it is that, it's like it's a mindset, and it changes you when you enter a family. Like, you're the average of the people you spend your time around. So when you're spending your time around people who not only love you and encourage you, but constantly tell you, hey, you can do better than this. Like, you can do better. You are better. Keep going. You're stronger. You can do it. It's a big, huge thing. So I would challenge you to entrepreneurs to reach out to people that really will do that for you. If you don't have them in your family, find them in your friend group. Get a mentor, your old boss, whatever, and don't let them go, because that's that person who's going to push you through when times get rough.
Yeah. Also look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Find it in yourself too, because sometimes that's all you'll have. You know,
the darkest days.
Sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and be like, you can do it.
Yes. Yeah. I have done that before.
Yeah, so. You have to. Sometimes it's just the reality of what it is. But yeah, like honestly, if you're in Arkansas and you got this one around you, like that's your go-to right there, because you're pretty incredible. But it's
we're gonna have a compliment war.
I do this all the time. But yeah, my mom, it's funny because with my family, we always joke about this. The reason we're so tough is my mom was a nurse, and she didn't take us to the hospital for anything unless we were dying. So we've
experienced this so far. I call her whining about pregnancy. She's like, just go. I birthed my children at home.
Yeah.
I don't care.
She doesn't. So we have no sense of pain. We are not very good at sympathizing with pain either, which has become really bad with some relationships at times. We're like,
it's just labor.
Like someone comes to us with a pain, we're like, okay, fix it, But that was my mom's
fault. Power through.
Yeah, you just got to power through. You'll figure it out. This will not kill you. It'll, whatever it may be. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I do want to tell everybody that listens, and most of the people that listen are here in Arkansas, but we are fortunate enough to have a lot of people out of market. And so if you own a business, if you work for a company, if you're unsatisfied at the company you're working at, if there is anything that you want to question, then Kacie is the person to reach out to, and really use user testing to your benefit. Save your money as a large company. I can think of a million companies here in Arkansas that have major holds in certain areas of financial technology or even like retail, and they could seriously use some help with their websites and with all of that. I mean, you work with universities, medical centers, right? I mean, is there anybody who doesn't qualify?
No. Anyone that has a digital presence or an end user. No.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
if you're human.
Yeah.
If you're human, you qualify.
Or an alien. I mean, aliens would need this too.
Yeah. So then real quickly before we wrap up, tell me where people can reach you.
Okay. So you can reach out to me at ktaylor@usertesting.com. If you're under a certain amount of employees, I'll push you to someone else, because I do handle a certain amount of employees and above.
She'll make it to the top.
Yeah. So if you're a company that's 1,500 employees or less, reach out to me and I will introduce you to someone that can help you out, because they'll give you the startup price plan, which I don't work with every day. But it's K Taylor, so KTAYLOR, Jamie Taylor, K Taylor, same thing, at usertesting.com. I would also suggest go to usertesting.com and become a panelist. But yeah, I mean, anything that you need help with, like I'd be more than willing to help, especially when it comes to this user testing world, user experience world.
Yeah. Well, I'm super thankful that you took the chance to come on the show with me. I know that sometimes it might be like, oh God, my sister-in-law has this stupid podcast. I have to go.
I don't think so. I really think it's really cool. I was just nervous to do it because I was just nervous to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's been great.
I wanted to live up to your standards, which is really tough to do.
No, it's really, honestly, what's great is I love having someone on that I have a rapport with, that I adore, and I have some respect. And, I really enjoy being around you and listening to what you're doing. And I think it's great that there are two of us in the family that can kind of feed off of each other, because not everybody in our family is super like entrepreneurial. And it's just nice to have somebody else that kind of pushes you and drives you and makes you want to be another better version of yourself.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Arkansas, please welcome Kacie Taylor. And you guys reach out to usertesting.com. Little Rock BLOCKtalk. We're out.